From Detroit to New York and into Washington, D.C., here's the reverberation now. The longtime serving Democratic congressman from Detroit, John Conyers, resigning his post at age 88, endorsing his son to assume his seat. We'll see what the voters have to say about that. And what does the White House have to say about this? Kellyanne Conway, counsel to the president, with me now from the North Lawn, and good morning to
Good
you.
morning, Bill.
I've got a whole big list here. Let's start with John Conyers. What's the reaction from the White House?
Let the people of Michigan decide who their next congressman is. That's what we believe in this White House. At the same time, Congressman Conyers was losing support among the leaders in the Democratic Party, among a number of his colleagues. You had Nancy Pelosi, of course, speaking with a forked tongue on the Sunday show. She called him an icon. A couple days later, she said he must resign. And that's just because, I guess, these are allegations they took very seriously, more seriously than they take others, I suppose. But I think that he was losing support among many of his colleagues that previously said they would stand with him. Now, it's not up to John Conyers, the congressman, to nominate his successor. He's endorsing his son. Usually what happens in these states, I'd have to check Michigan law, though, is depending on when the retirement, the resignation comes, as close to the midterms, you have the governor of that state appointing a successor. Sometimes it's a special election. We'll have to look at Michigan law. But people will have to decide who they want in Congress now to represent them, and we'll respect the will of the people.
Let's go to topic number 2, and that is taxes. Last night, a bit of a hiccup last night with conservatives in the House. Are they going to get in the way, do you think, of getting this done?
They've been great. They've been wonderful, and the president has established a really healthy and ongoing conversation and relationship with all of the Republicans in the House and Senate at one time or another. And he and the vice president have leaned all the way into this process, and yesterday was no exception. We have a couple things going on in December. One is we're on the verge of passing historic tax cuts for employers, for businesses, and for families and for individuals. But we also have to keep funding the government. And we certainly hope, and I know there's conservatives in the House hope, Bill, that the Democrats will not stand in the way of keeping the government function, won't shut it down for petty partisan reasons, and will keep the government going. We'll get the funding that we need to the military, for example.
No. Topic number 3, I want to go back to over the weekend, okay? The tweet that came from the president's account with regard to the FBI said the following with regard to General Flynn. I had to fire General Flynn, he writes, because he lied to the vice president and the FBI. He had pled guilty to those lies. It is a shame because his actions during the transition were lawful, there was nothing to hide. Now we understand the attorney John Dowd wrote that. First of all, is that true? And second, why make that statement?
John Dowd said that he wrote the tweet. He said he's out of the tweeting business now. It's the first tweet he's ever written for the president. And I think the president himself has talked before that tweet and after that tweet quite extensively on the matter, and we should look at the full measure of what he has said. He has said that he was asked, I was standing right there when he was asked on the South Lawn on Saturday morning before we took off for New York by the press pool. He said, they asked, are you worried about yesterday? And he said, no, there was no collusion. There's absolutely no collusion. So we're, quote, happy about that. He keeps saying that. And that is exactly what the mainstream media, who has been in lather about Russia, 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 not America, 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 for a year now. That's what they've been focused on. Now they're changing their tune to other charges. But the president has also said, the president has also said that we need an FBI that's objective, and he's very concerned to think that any type of investigation was compromised. The revelation that an FBI agent had to be reassigned or taken out of this particular investigation because he was anti-Trump in his text and had interviewed General Flynn and was more favorable toward Hillary Clinton when she was being questioned. That's very troubling for any American who knows justice should be blind and our FBI should be independent.
I've talked to a lot of legal analysts over the past 5 days. Was that tweet a defense on behalf of the president and his attorney?
That tweet was his attorney expressing, from, I suppose, a legal perspective, what they wanted to convey, which is that reminding everybody that General Flynn lied to the FBI, lied to the vice president. But the president has also since said, and I think it's very important for everyone to note this, he said as recently as yesterday that General Flynn was treated very unfairly, his career and his life ruined, and that Hillary Clinton got off with very little scrutiny or punishment. That's the president's point of view, and he has every right to express it. So I think we should always, for everyone, take the full measure of the comments. But yeah. I would defer to what the president's counsel, what his lawyer, Mr. Dowd, has said, which is that he wrote the tweet.
Based on your last answer, not that one, the one previously, You think the White House believes the FBI has a credibility problem, correct?
No, I didn't say that. There are many, many men and women at the FBI, some recently there, some who have been there for many, many years, if not decades, I'm sure, who are law-abiding and upstanding men and women who do their job well every single day. That's my prevailing view at all of these agencies and departments. There's no question about it. And what I'm saying is the recent revelations, and we get new facts about that particular agent every day now, these new revelations that he was taken off that investigation in the summer because perhaps the investigation was compromised, that he was sending out anti-Trump tweets. This is the information we've seen, as you've seen. We're always concerned about questions of objectivity, and we always want investigations to be impartial.
Okay.
So that is a going principle that I hope, would cover any presidency and any investigation by the FBI. The new FBI director, Mr. Wray, was recently confirmed, and the president did a very long and deep search for Mr. Comey's replacement. And in Mr. Wray, we are confident that the FBI is tapping into the considerable intelligence and devotion, dedication, and professionalism of the men and women who work at the FBI.
Last topic here. I got to squeeze this in quickly. There's a big vote in Alabama on Tuesday. Mitt Romney tweeted this just yesterday. Roy Moore in the U.S. Senate would be a stain on the GOP and on the nation. Lee Corfman and other victims are courageous heroes. No vote, no majority is worth losing our honor, our integrity, end quote. The president talked to Roy Moore yesterday. What'd you think of Mitt Romney's comment?
I was wondering what Mitt Romney was doing while the president and Senator Hatch and others were in Utah. Now I know. He's welcome to his opinion. This president has made clear that he does not want Doug Jones in the Senate, that it would be a sneak attack of a liberal vote, a vote against the shared agenda of tax cuts and the Second Amendment.
Does he think Roy Moore would be a stain or not on the GOP?
Well, you know what? The president spoke with Roy Moore yesterday, and he has given him his endorsement. I see overnight the RNC either is or is considering going back in and providing the resources that they generally provide Republican nominees. It's very clear now that Mr. Moore is not stepping aside. He is the candidate. He's on the ballot. The election is in 1 week. And that the president has stated, he's made statements on this very clearly, and I would refer you to the president's own public statements, Bill. Everything you said about Roy Moore is there for everyone to see.
Okay.
And then we'll see. We'll let the people, but the most important thing is to let the people of Alabama decide their election. Even Leader McConnell has come around to that opinion and expressed it on a Sunday show this weekend.
I'm well out of time, but thank you for yours.
Thank you.
Kellyanne Conway from the White House.